Hey everyone, today we are going to be doing the Knives Out movie review. This is going to be take two. The last one I took down. Um, so hopefully today goes better, where we'll review the whole thing. So, hey everybody, welcome in. Welcome to all the silent viewers. I hope one day you'll be, feel welcome enough to join the chat. If not, I always appreciate wait a minute, I'm doing this all wrong. Okay, that just you guys listening. Hey Desi. Um that's pretty much it. I can't hear anything. Susan, can you hear anything or is it just Desi's? Hey Susan. Is it just because of she doesn't have the earpiece in? Why can't I get my dang video? There we go. Like what the heck's going on? Is everything going wrong at once? Um Save me from watching the news. Oh no, not the news. Dizzy lost hearing in both eyes. Her headphones weren't working. I had my volume off. Let me get to the living room. Okay. Dizzy, go get your office. Oh shit. Uh, but I wanted to get this movie review done because we're gonna forget about it. I think me and Susan are the only ones left that watched it right now, and we're not gonna have memory. And I watched it. I want to be able to do the review like I planned on doing it. Look at this fan going on me. Man, I think I've been, I know I've been biting my tongue. Well, I don't know what I'm doing it or whatever, but I do know my tongue has sore where my teeth is going on me. Wait a minute, guys. Alright, hopefully, yeah, that's going. But my tongue is swollen from me biting it. So I haven't been noticing it. I just noticed the pain right now. That's all. And the swellingness of it all. Um, yeah, go take a shit. Oh, shit. Okay, I can hear it good, Desi. uh, I just put this fan on me and it feels like nothing. What the heck's going on? Well, we're going to give it a few minutes before we start it just to see who else hops in here. I gave a warning to all the people that don't want to know, like warning to the spoilers, because I'm sure there's people that want to watch the movie without knowing too much about it. Here, we're going to be reviewing the movie, which has the details of it, so it's going to have spoiler alerts. Um, if you don't want this, I don't know what to tell you because we're going to be talking about the movie. But yeah, that's a little spoiler alert. Oh, I can't even say it. Spoiler alert warning. Hopefully, my speech is better. Um, if I would have known there was gonna be a take two, I would have watched it. You think so? You think you would have got through it? I have my AC on. It's freaking hot and muggy. It's only like 17 here. Is it 17? Third thing, I don't know why I can't read the corner of my computer. It's 13 degrees here. So hopefully we don't have the pipes freezing. I will be getting up after here and running the water. I'll be glad when these days are over, where we won't have to run the damn water so the pipes won't freeze. This winter hasn't been bad with the snow, it's just been bad with the freezing. And every winter I'm like, I want to leave, I'm going to leave, I want to leave, and I'm just no, never going to get out of this damn city. But I hate winter, for real. Yeah, even though them effing ads are annoying, yeah. So, well, yeah, we'll just wait a little bit. But just to say, this is a movie, Knives Out, that was on Amazon Prime. Free with ads. But if, of course, if you don't want to watch ads or whatever, I think you have to pay for the movie, I guess, to watch it. But yeah, free with ads. And for me, my ads were only uh like a minute and a half of commercial at the beginning, and then a minute and a half of commercial in the middle. It was the same for Susan, but for Desi, she had multiple videos. I mean, multiple commercials, which, like I said, for me, that changes if I'm going to watch a movie or not. I know that Hulu does that too, and Hulu has way more interruptions. And sometimes I watch movies, and I feel like I'm not going to keep on watching if another ad comes on. Then when it does, I just lose my interest. Movies really have to keep your interest to one have to wait through the ads. Where at those times, we're used to a lot of stuff not having ads. You get spoiled in a way. So it tells you something if you're going to keep on watching the movie while watching the ads, I think. So I think that was worth saying. People with ADHD and all that other stuff, it's like you're going to interrupt, what you're watching with ads. That says something. That says something the person's going to, like I said, stay watching it. Or it's too much for them and they stop. So I say just the two commercial breaks. That was fine. I feel like if it would have had more, I wouldn't have watched it. That's my opinion. Um. Oh, 19. There were 19. Now there's only 16 shit with us. Yeah. Desi's commercials are a potty and snack breaks. Susan, no commercials are too frustrating and make me turn something else on. Yeah. That's Desi, and that's me too. If the like it takes you have to be able to keep my concentration past the time of the ads, and a lot of times it just doesn't work for me. Um, so let's see. We'll still wait like a few more minutes. So I feel like with these movie real, I don't know why I can't talk tonight, but I feel like with these movie reviews and when we start talking about books, anything that takes like everybody's opinion and what they think or whatever, we're always going to have different aspects. Sometimes we'll meet on the same ground or whatever, but I feel like it should always just be fun and comfortable. And us as a group, or as we're maturing into something more where we're getting to know each other more and stuff like that, we're getting to like merge, and emotional shit's just gonna happen. It happens in reality every day when you deal with your family and all the other stuff. It's going to happen when you do this and you see the same names over again. There's going to be some clashing. I always said from the beginning when I talk to anybody, when I even talk to my family or friends these days, I do sort of put it out there like, hey, there might be something where we're not going to agree on something. We could always talk it out. I'm always willing to talk it out as a person. I hope the other person's always willing to talk it out. I don't think there's anything that's too serious that can't be talked out. Of course, there's things, that could happen. That it's just like, okay, there, that's it. But for the majority, especially when we're on here chatting with each other, usually it's no big deal if something happens. It could be talked out. So just be that person too that could talk to me and talk it out. I don't know what else to say about that stuff. I'm sad nobody could join us at Walmart. I have a bunch of goodies. I have a bunch of what's it called, of um screen grabs, so I could see if I could find the ones online, a few of the snacks, so I could review it during my video whenever I do that one. But yeah, you guys, I think everybody that's been on my channel thus far, um, I appreciate everybody that comes in, and I hope that it works out between us. I hope that we could talk little things out here and there. If it can't be worked out, it makes me feel bad when I lose people. But I can't like break my back to keep people in either. I have to be able to be myself. I make a lot of jokes. I'm never want to hurt anybody's feeling. I don't want to make them feel left out or whatever. But I hope eventually, like I said, we could just like get along and be cool with each other. I like different aspects of life. I like learning people's backgrounds. I like talking to people that are different than me. I've done that my whole life, and I never really had many problems. Uh, See, I can do the ad set after like 5 or 6 seconds. Yeah, you can skip like on YouTube, but when you have to sit there, yeah, and it's 1 to 3 minutes. Yeah, that's different. It's goodbye for real. That's just squirrel. I get it. It's not normal to agree on everything. Someone has to be lying, or if they agree on everything, yeah. We just need to learn and to respect each other's differences and not take anything personally. That takes away from someone's personality and feelings, like they can express themselves without having to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around people's sensitivity. Yeah, I can't do that. That's why I said I hope that and then like I said, I might hurt somebody's feeling. I might go so far. I'm not perfect. I'm just saying I'm not trying to. And if I do, then we could talk about it. But when there's also why I ended the when we tried this at the beginning, when we first watched the movie, like I said at the beginning of it, I'm going through something that a lot of people wouldn't understand, whatever. And I don't want, and I'm going through it, and it's somebody else's business, so I'm not talking about it. But that doesn't mean because I'm here that I'm not suffering or that I'm not in the middle of a crisis. It's just I don't talk about it because it's someone else's business. So my energy is going to be amped up too because I'm like, okay, let me do this despite me feeling like I'm falling apart. I want to do this because these lives usually make me laugh, and I feel like it makes you guys, when we get rolling, we be cracking up and stuff. I don't want to lose that stuff. So, like I said, just people speak up, and hopefully you have the strength to laugh and everything along with us. I don't know what else to do. I don't mean to hurt anybody when I do this stuff, like I said. But yeah, I can't change my personality. I won't change my personality. I work too hard to speak and be okay speaking. And though this is a small crowd, it still is very hard for me to speak through my anxiety and stuff. And um, I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable with that, and I can't change that. So I hope we could work it out. I'm glad you come to us to skip the troubles you're going through in your personal life. That's the way it should be. We can all come here to be there for each other. Yeah. Right. Um Susan, can you see if can you tell Jessie I'm live just in case she's awake? Because I know that she said she might be awake tonight. In case she didn't get the notification, I forgot to tell her. But I think everybody that's been here, I hope they know that I've enjoyed their company, and I hope, like I said, I hope people come back. Um, I don't. I think she's getting better and stuff. There's still just a whole bunch of difficulties with just how long they took to do the surgery, but I think she's getting a little better every day. She's just been going to bed early, so I've been telling her to sleep, but she said tonight she might be up. I love the company of our regular group. Everybody brings something different. Yeah, and I've already lost a few people, just because, like one I had to take the mods off, because my channel was being messed with, and that just made people get hurt, I guess. And but it also hurts me anyway because it's like you have to be my mod to be in here. That's kind of, So there's just a lot of. It's not a lot, It feels like a lot because this group is small right now, so I feel the losses, I think, a little bit more than I thought I would, but that's not gonna, like I said, it's not gonna stop me from hoping I meet new people and they stay, and I know I should be the one that knows for sure with life there's so many loss, there's loss, and that's just a natural thing. I just wish it would be over, like some major things, not little things that are making people fall off. But like I said, at the end of the day, there's really nothing I could do. I could just say, hey, this could be worked out, like I say to everybody. Okay, thank you, Susan. So, Susan, do you want to start the movie thing off again now? Uh, I think you did last time, but I forgot what you said. So, hopefully you remember enough to start it rolling so I could keep it rolling, and then you could keep it rolling some more, back and forth, until we finish it. And then Butt's gonna come in here the other day talking about some. Where did everybody go? It's like people need to really realize how hard it is to do this. Some people have it easy and their audience flows in, but that's obviously not me. So we're just waiting to see. Susan's probably typing away, so give her a little bit of a minute to get it in there. Like you said, the movie is called Knives Out, and it is on Amazon Prime with ads. I will say before I hear what she says, there were, like I said, there's major actors and actresses in here that haven't, like they haven't been around for a minute. So when I saw them all, I was more encouraged to watch the movie because I was like, oh, I'm going to be seeing my. Usually these new movies, I don't recognize anybody in. So, but to be able to recognize most of the cast of the movie, I was excited. And I do like a who done it movie. Okay, so the beginning of the movie started with a woman. I'm not sure if it was the daughter of the caretaker bringing breakfast and coffee to the rich elderly man. Okay. Now, really, you tell me when you're done, because last time you were like done. Right, I recognized them and was like, well, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who was that lady now that I think about it? I don't know. Hmm. As she entered the room, the man was laying on the couch, throat slit and a knife on the floor, as though he had offed himself. And my head's like, who was the lady that found him? Oh, wait, the caretaker was at home because they called her to come. See, I'm already forgetting that part. The caretaker was there? Girl, we gotta suck at this review because it's been too many days. Maybe there won't be too many spoilers because we done forgot the dang movie. With stress and my normal brain, how it is, oh my gosh. The lady who found him was so shook that she dropped the food on the tray. Wait, the food of the tray she was bringing the other men, but she managed to save the cup of coffee from falling. They called the caretaker and she went to the house to speak to the police. Okay, so she wasn't there. I thought you meant like they called her like from the house, like okay. Yeah, I think it was the housekeeper, the one they called the housekeeper. Do you think it was her, the housekeeper? Remember they called her that at the end? So the man that was um offed at the beginning, obviously that starts a mystery to the who did it. He was a well-known writer, and his last book that he was it called Knives Out? It was something knives in it, so there was a lot of knives lying around and like artwork done with knives and stuff because that was the last book that was published of his. Yeah, I think it was the housekeeper. Hey Diane, welcome in. And so isn't that pretty much where they just jumped into who did it, or am I wrong? See, I knew I was gonna remember crap. I'm sorry, you guys. This one got messed up. It's just the days that were in between and just the stress. Just listening because I don't watch TV. Oh, you don't watch like anything on TV? No movies or anything? What you be doing, lady? Just watching YouTube? That's how I am. Besides when I watch like movies and stuff, I don't have a TV in my room, so I don't watch TV like that either. I'm just trying to remember. You let me know if that's how it went, where they just found him and then they went right back right into who did it. Everyone got to be interviewed by two detectives, but there was another private detective that was hired by a mystery person. So yeah, so they did that. Is it? They started each having one each family member sit in front of the two detectives, and then behind them was a mystery man. You know, and everybody was like, "Who is this guy? Who is this guy?" And then you find out like a little bit after them interviewing them that it was a private investigator hired by a mystery person. No, I read and do puzzles. Okay. And it was like the private detective, like what felt like he was catching on and understanding the situation way more than the police. Police officers were like, "What? You think what? Like we don't know anything. Like how are you gonna be two police officers?" You know what I mean? Like they act like they were clueless. I don't understand why they kept pressing the keys on the piano. I think that was supposed to be funny or something. Even though this didn't say it was, funny, I think there was some aspects of it that was supposed to be. Yeah, the police were total. Yeah, it was just like, what are you doing? You're a police officer. Are you sure? So they were taking the lead of the private investigator, which was asked backwards. And then, of course, all the family members were interviewed except the ones that were out of town or out at the moment. And of course, at first, everybody's on the list of suspects. Um, but they really didn't have a clue who did it. And nobody acted like they really cared for the subject in the. Which ended up being, the dad to one, two, three children, I believe, older children. And then there were grandchildren. One, two, three. And he had a third child that was married to a woman, but the male, um, was gone before this happened. So it was his wife, which would have been his widow, and their child, in the picture too. So he had four children, but one had passed. So that's who they were interviewing, and nobody seemed like they really cared. Uh, Everybody just seemed really spoiled and out of touch. Like out of touch with the reality and how life should really be and stuff. At least that's how they came across to me. Everybody, ungrateful, not worrying about that he was gone or anything. So there was more. That was what made it like less sad because, well, it made it sad, for me that nobody gave a crap about his except for his money. But um, I think that's what made it less sad to just figure out everything because like nobody gave a crap. What's your opinion on that, Susan? About how the family reacted? I know Desi, you watched like I think you said a half hour of it, so I think you watched that part too. The only one that acted like they cared was the caregiver. Why is my tongue so swollen though? This feels like extra. But like I said, it happens all the time. I always just bite my tongue so much and don't know it. And then it gets too swollen where I hardly can talk. They just wanted the money, exactly. That's sad because it's basically reality for many. Yep. So that yes, we have the investigation. Everybody's questions. Everybody's told to stay close because they'll have more questions and everything. Uh, okay. So do we go to when the housekeeper was questioned? Not the housekeeper. The caregiver of the writer. Is there something else before that? All I know there's some aspect where I forgot how they found out, but they knew that when they interviewed her, they knew that if she couldn't tell a lie. If she had to tell a lie or thought, tried to tell a lie, she would end up throwing up from the lie right after it. So, that's one thing they pretty much showed on her end, where she couldn't tell a lie like Pinocchio, except her nose when it grows, she would throw up. I'm just waiting to see if there's anything before I talk about like the one of the bigger parts of the movie. It was very. It was a slow burn. It did, Um, I that's what I was talking about before the 30-minute mark. I was like, I'm done with this. I think it was a little over 30 minutes. But then, uh, Susan was ahead of me. And she said, "No, stick in. Let's watch it." I'm turning in on to make sure 2 minutes commercial so I can refresh my memory. It was a long day. Surprise. I'm still awake. Wait, it was a long day. Surprise, I'm still awake. Oh. See, you're trying to say it was a long day, that's why you don't remember? We're old. That's why we don't remember. No, you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch it. I'm saying for me, I was ready to give up, but Susan had finished it, so she said, continue watching it because the last 30 minutes, it was better. So I kept on watching it. I think even though I say I criticize things, you always have to criticize. I will say before the ending of this, I would tell people to watch it. I think so. Well, you're trying to get the details there. You're gonna watch the whole thing. I think there's the biggest thing they did wrong in this movie is they showed who did it way too early. There was a little twist at the end, but because they showed who did it way too early, it sort of makes you lose a little bit of it. I don't like. I think a lot of people would think the same thing. So, uh, when they get to the part of who did it, there was pretty soon in the movie, and they show that the writer, which is the older man, and the caretaker are in the room. They're settling down for the night. She's giving him his medication and just doing the routinely night thing. And they're just talking after playing a game. And she's administering his medicine through, needles she's putting in his. He already had like a port, so she would just put the medicine in his IV port. And, he would go to bed. So that day they had his birthday party. So he was drained from it and everything. They showed that there was like a little bit of arguments in there, but they didn't show what the arguments were, or anything like that. But they showed that there were some intense exchanges during the party. So he was ready to just go to bed. And she was just giving him his. They only showed two medications. I forgot what one was, but the other one was morphine, right? And so she was giving it to him, and then she looked at the bottle and she realized that she asked him, she's like, would you like a little bit of basically morphine to help you sleep better? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And when she looked at the bottle and she was going to give it to him, she was like, "Oh no, I gave you the wrong one. The first one was morphine." And he was just like, "Well, what would happen? What's the normal dose of morphine?" And she was like, "I think it was like 5 milligrams." He's like, "Well, what did you give me?" And she was like 100. And she was like, "Oh, don't worry though, don't worry. I have this, because he's like, what would happen?" And she said, "You're gonna be dead in, I think, like 5 minutes or something." But she said, "Don't worry, I have the medicine to counteract the overdose." And she was looking through her bag, everywhere through her bag, and it wasn't there. So she was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" And she was just getting a little hysterical. But then she was like, "Well, I have to call." She's like, basically, she's going to be in trouble. She's like, "I have to call 911, so they can help you." And she goes to the phone, dials 911. But now this is a house phone, it's not a cell phone. So she dialed 911 and she started, she put the phone up to her head. And then when she's waiting for the ring and for it to happen, the writer hangs up the phone. And she was just like, "What are you doing? I need to get you help." And he basically said, "Listen to me. We have to with a plan that doesn't get you in trouble. This was a mistake. This wasn't your fault. Just let me handle this." And, he's like, she's like, "No, no, we have to call." He's like, "Get it together, get it together." And basically kicks her out of the room and, basically tells her he knows what he could do. And so you see a little bit of him in the room grabbing something, then laying down. And, she's standing outside the room still hysterical, but when she comes in, she's just like, "No, we have to." And by the time she's talking to him, he already had laid down and put, a knife to his throat. And while she was trying to tell him no, he finished the act on him. He offed himself. And so she basically ran after that. So that was what they showed it, not too far into the movie. For me, it was too soon. How did you feel about them putting that in there so soon, Susan? Or are you still trying to watch it to catch up? Because we don't need to get into every detail. We're just getting to the gist of anything. I think that's good if we just do, like, not the whole movie, so people might watch it and, want to watch the parts we missed anyway. But I do think that part, even though, like I said, the end was the twist at the end of it. Um, I do think that part made the movie a little bit harder to watch because it's like, well, I already knew who did it. It's a risky thing. I'm sure they knew that was a risk when they did it. And you guys that are listening, let me know what you guys think about this stuff. In a Who Done It movie, putting what happened, well, it's a good 75% about what really happened with the death in the movie. What, 30 something or a little bit longer in, not even halfway in the movie, um, showing what happened. We're just I'm gonna have to watch it tomorrow to finish it. See, Desi still wants to watch it. That's why I said I recommend people watch it. It sounds so interesting. I felt the same way as you did, yelling at the TV like, "Oh damn, they showed it." But there's always a twist, yeah. But like I said, that I think a little bit after that, I think both of us had been done. I fell asleep. But I was still, I was done. I wasn't gonna watch it. I was gonna, but then when I fell asleep, Susan kept on watching it to tell me once I woke up and was like, well, she was like, "No, you gotta watch the rest of it." So, like I said, I'm glad I had somebody else. I think that's another thing that makes this a fun experience where we could be like, "Oh, we're not finishing this." Somebody be like, "No, you need to," Um, I like doing these things. The movie reviews. Now you tell the up next part, Susan, since I broke it down. And then, like I said, of course, it takes some time to type out stuff. So sorry, it's been 40 minutes. Yes, I like it. It's like our own book club, only with movies. Lord knows I'll never pick up a book and read past the intro. That's why when we do start the book, I gotta get the book. Um, but when we do start it's we're still gonna be watching movies, so it's gonna be like switching on and off just that, so that we can sort of have everything for everybody. Go on and break it down. Break it down. You better and pick it up. You better do. You spent that long to write. Susan, you spent that long to write that sentence. Do not try to get out of this. Oh my goodness. Well, that's what I said. I said that they were showing little parts of what happened at the during the birthday party before everything happened. They were showing little flashbacks of each one and the intense interaction. So we're moving past that part, Susan. That's a little bit of words. That's what I said. She spent all that time. That's a little bit of word for the amount of time you was quiet for real. I was like, she spent all the time saying that. I almost had your ass singing there for a second. No, you did. But yeah, I told them that they showed glimpses of the night of the party with everybody and some intense interactions. But the last thing I left off with was when they started interviewing the housekeeper and her, like she would vomit, like, if she lied and stuff like that. So, do you remember what was past that point, like the interview with her, how that went? So this is the one that they interviewed, the person that actually did her interview. Everybody else was, oh, nobody would do this. Who would do this? And like I said, they didn't care. They just knew they didn't do it. Oh my gosh. Commercial. What the heck does that mean? You don't remember when they were. I'm gonna be aside for a second making me a sandwich, okay? You got another commercial you're really trying to, Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream? Interesting. That sounds like it would go good with some, like a float, like with some vanilla ice cream. Make me a sandwich too, mama. Try to remember her interview. Well, her interview, since Susan doesn't remember, was pretty boring, pretty basic. Like, how did the day go? Where was she? Was she always with him? Um, and basically, they didn't ask her too many questions because they believed that she didn't have anything to do with it. And they just started asking her about other people that they thought were lying, and so they started asking her, "Did was this person here? Or did this person?" She was closer to the writer, and he told her a lot of things. So they asked if he told her about this person, if they were cutting the person off financially, if he was cutting the person off, and she would try to say no, but then almost throw up, so she would have to say yes. So they knew some people that were getting cut off financially. They knew that he told her that he was going to say it to them that night. So basically, that's all they got out of her, like who was going to get cut off. Because nobody told him. Yes, I need Cliff Notes. It's been a week already, yeah. Isn't that crazy? I used to remember so much in the movie for so long. Now I'm like, which way do I go? I don't remember. Uh, but the middle of the movie was really. I feel like you have these major actors. They need to have some major parts in it, but their parts I feel like were really small. Um, oh my gosh, I don't know. The middle of the movie is so hard because, like I said, that was the beginning was something to watch, the end was something to watch. You need the middle, but hmm, it was really a bunch of them running around, trying to find clues, listening to the caretaker, because, like I said, they believed that she had no parts in it. This is a movie. If you watch it a second time, you'll notice something else. Probably, yeah, you'll notice a lot more. But the middle was a drag. I have to say that it was. Um, that's why I'm not like and then because there's not much to talk about. You just find out more. Like you find out, like the lady that did lose her husband or whatever, that she was broke, that she was just living off of what she got for her kid going to college and stuff, and that she like scammed him out of some money because he was paying her the college tuition and he was paying the college tuition directly, and he didn't know that. So he was doing it double time, and she was just taking the one source of money from him, and he told her she's going to be cut off. You find out that one of the sons get cut off because they're just not doing much for his company. You find out that his daughter husband is cheating, and the dad knew about it. The writer knew about it, so he threatened her husband. That they would be cut off if he doesn't stop cheating. The caretaker spends a lot of time, a lot of the movie trying to protect herself from getting caught. Yeah. Because the police trust her, when there is clues to something, when they're looking at something, like there was at a point in time where um the grounds person had found a car that stopped, and the police were gonna look at the tape closely, but then it was old, which didn't make any sense. It was old. What are those things called? The tapes that the movies were on. It wasn't a DVD. It was what, a VHS tape. VHS tape. So the whole thing that played it was old. So she was trying to. So VHS, yeah. So she was trying to fast forward and eject this. Anyway, made it smoke, go up in smoke. So they were like, "Oh, we can't watch this." And then when they found footprints like leading up to the house through this gate that was on the side, they were like, "Oh, don't step there." And she knew that she was about to contaminate the scene, so she walked back and forth contaminated the scene. There was one point where, when they showed what she did, they showed her going up the side of the house on, I think that's still called a trestle up the house. I'm not really sure, but sometimes, when you have pieces that go up the house that plants climb up, usually that's what people climb up on in movies. Um, they showed a piece of wood break off when she did it. So when the detectives were walking, or the investigator was walking and talking to her, they show her pick up the piece of wood and throw it to the dogs for the dog to fetch it and take it away. So she's clearly covering her ass. When they showed her, when they played back the scene, they showed that the grandma, oh, the mother of the guy, I think, or everybody they just called grandma, she always sat looking out the window or stood looking out the window. So obviously she saw the caretaker going up that way for nobody to see her. And she had said something to the caretaker, which I didn't get until a little twist happened. So with that, the grandma never really spoke. Everybody tried to talk to her, but she didn't say nothing. And she would just be sitting in her little chair minding her own business. So pretty much it was just that type of stuff, like going around, and uh nobody was really doing much during that time, though. They had little arguments here and there, but it wasn't like any action going on during the middle of the movie. Even though they were going around trying to find clues and stuff, there wasn't much in there. A lot of it was just dry scenes, I think. Okay, I'm back. Wait, just okay, yeah, got that. So yeah, they're going around finding, everything that they could possibly can, which is hardly nothing at all. At one point, the guy's talking, and the dog drops the piece of wood that's from a, like I said, I believe that's called a trestle. Um, and he's like, "What is this? This is fresh." When he was standing right next to it outside, what a coincidence! But he's like, "This is fresh. Somebody's been climbed up there." And he was like, "Well, where does this window lead?" It does, like he knew inside the house. So he's like, "How does that window there? We don't see it anywhere. So where does that window lead?" He asked the caretaker to take him up to the window, and they find the window there. She tries to contaminate that area, but they know better. They saw her do it the first time, so they're like, "Don't step anywhere. Don't step on the rug. Just try to show us where the window is." So she went around the edge and not on the rug, and she showed them this secret window, this secret door that led to the window. And they were investigating the rug, and they were just like, "Oh, mud! Like mud could be from anything." But then there was mud also inside on the windowsill, so they knew somebody used that to get at the room the writer was in the night he died. Are we passing the mic to Susan right now? No. What the heck? What the heck was that noise just now? Wait a minute. I don't know if you guys heard that. That didn't make any sense where it came. I don't know why this happens to me. That didn't make any sense. The next scene is the will reading. Okay, are you gonna tell the will reading? Or what was that in the will that determined who did it? Maybe. Yes, maybe. Is Susan going to take the mic? Hmm. We're some rusty ass movie reviewers, guys. Be patient. Susan, put the donuts down and get back to the chat. Oh shit. So the will reading, everyone was cut off. Are you serious? What happened? Okay, so the will reading, everybody was cut off except the caregiver. So of course everybody got mad. I get. Is that? Oh, do we? Am I waiting again for you or what? So yeah, everybody was in shock when they found out that everything was left to the caregiver. Okay, so are they framing the caregiver? Are they framing them, Susan? This is where the little twist comes into play. I can't even eat sweet right now. It's too hot. Oh no, brush my teeth and having Wawa at the moment. Wawa. Oh, water is that? See, I told you you should have took your nap. Maybe you remember something. Well, when you say Wawa, Wawa's like for me a convenience store. So I was like, "You're eating Wawa? You got some sandwiches from there?" That's what my head went to because, like I said, Wawa is like a little convenience store that they had in Philly. You know, I hate eating anything when it's too hot. Yeah. She says Wawa like a baby. Oh, okay. I think that's the first I heard that. I wish we had a Wawa. I miss Wawa. That's why I said. So when you said it, I was like, Wawa. I miss my trips to Wawa. I hate missing a lot of my life, but anyway, I'm probably gonna speed through what I remember because I don't think Susan's gonna do much here. So I'm just gonna speed through everything to the end. This one was so everyone, girl. Oh, if you know, we already said that part. So everyone is in shock. we drink something with caffeine? How you're going? Bro, I hate typing. I'd rather talk like a human. Alright, so when I hear Wawa, I think of Cal from Teen Mom when she was said her baby daddy, who had a pregnant girlfriend at the time, tried to F her in the Wawa parking lot while he was pregnant. What? Girlfriend was at home. Oh, wow. Yeah, in Philly, Wawa were the like convenience stores, the major ones there. They always had some good subs and stuff. They have way more now. I see people go there. They have way more of a selection to for the menu of like I said. I think some have gas stations, some don't, or whatever. I've never seen one with a gas station, but it's a cute little convenience store. Okay. Anyway, after the will reading, well, basically the family are yelling at her and saying this has to be wrong. There's something you're gonna do, and then it's like they turn to her and they're like, "You must have been effing him. You must have did this. You were doing this to him." Blah blah. So the cops and stuff tell her to get out of there, like go home. So she's like running out of the house while everybody's like, "What is going on? How has this happened? This doesn't make any sense." And she tries to jump in her car and start it, and her car won't start. And there was the one of the grandkids that came in late and didn't give a crap He was just like laughing at everybody. And he, when he pulled up, before he pulled up in, I don't know, some nice car. Um, and then, so when he comes in, when she can't start her car, the grandson pulls up to her car while everybody's yelling on the outside, and he waves her over and like, "Come on, come with me." And she's like, "Fuck it, I can't do nothing else." So she jumps in the car with him, and he's like, he's driving her away from all of them. And so they end up in a restaurant. In the restaurant, he's saying he understands, the family's just being hot-headed right now, and he's trying to comfort her in a way, like, "Don't worry, I got you. You don't have to worry about anything." Blah blah blah. While she's all shook and stuff, he gets her comfortable enough for her to start eating. So she starts eating, and then when they're talking, la la la, he says, "Okay, so tell me what really happened." And he puts a bowl in front of her, an empty bowl, and he goes, "I remember from somebody's event that if she lied, she would throw up." And so she looks at him like, "Oh gosh, now I got to tell the story." First of all, though, what didn't make sense with that scene that bothered me was it wasn't like he was asking her questions about what happened for her to lie. He basically told her to spill it, like tell the truth. So if she would be telling the truth, she wouldn't have to lie because he wasn't asking her anything. So they flopped there. That didn't make any sense. So anyway, they don't show her really saying much. They go off to other stuff, but clearly she starts spilling the beans. Um, so it's like when they cut back to that scene, there's like 6 beers that they drink, so it's supposed to be like a long thing, and then he's like, "Okay, I understand, it's not your fault." He said, "What we're gonna do is, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, what we're gonna do is cover all your tracks, and at the end of this, you keep, the money, but you give me my part," which his part would have been nothing because he didn't get anything in the will, but he basically said, "Give him his cut, and they'll be okay." She was like, "Really? You don't want me to go to the police and tell them the truth?" He's like, "No, you don't have to do that. We'll cover up everything, and we'll be cool. And like you said, just give me my cut." So, she was like, "No, no." She acted like she was so, or like, "I cannot do that." And all the while, a few members of the family are like calling him, whatever, like, "Give us our money back," because you can, I guess, reverse the if somebody leaves you money, you can say you don't want it, and then I guess it's going to go in escrow, and the family members will figure it out. So they were trying to get her to do that, but he was like, "No, don't do that. Keep all the money. Just give me my cut, and we'll get through this." So she decides not to tell the police, and him and her are trying to figure out what to do. Um, Trying to figure out what's the caretaker is also worried because, oh yeah, her mom is undocumented. So yeah, that's another thing she's worried about because they said to her, "Oh, you know your mom basically. You know that she's not documented. We'll just tell if you don't give us back our money." But he was like, "We'll figure out all that stuff." Um. So anyway, she tries to go home, make just to get a little rest or whatever, and I think she went to sleep. Yeah, she went to sleep, and then her mom woke her up because there was a lot of reporters outside her house. And she was just like, "What's going on? Are we rich?" And her sister, like, she lived with her mom and her sister. And her sister just was like, "What the heck is going on? Are we rich?" And she tries to go open up the door. There's a bunch of mail there. She grabs it. She's like, she's going to have to go out the back. But during looking through the mail, she sees that there's a plain envelope in there. And the plain envelope, she opens it up and it says, "I know what you did." and it shows a lab report, blood work report, and her little tag that was on her bag that she left at the scene. So she knew there was somebody that knew she knew what she did. She tries to go out the back. When she's going out the back door, she meets one of the sons, one of the writer's sons. He was there waiting for her to come out the back. Now this guy always plays creepy roles in in other movies. Like he knows how to play a creepy person. This one that he played in here, I don't understand why he seems so. It just that he didn't have it in this one. He was trying to play it like he was trying to play intimidating. They showed him closing up on her, talking about her mom being undocumented. And it just seems like he could have been so much more scary and intimidating at this point, but it didn't seem like he was. But anyway, he was just like, your mom, you wouldn't want that happen to your mom. Like if you give us the money back, we'll be sure to cover any lawyers that could actually help you out with this situation. We got the hookups so that you could basically make, your mom have legal documents and all that stuff. Like, our lawyers will take care of it. Just give us the money back. So she was like, oh, really? Well, if you guys had the money to pay for doing it, then I could do that myself with the money. Like, basically, thank you for letting me know. And then she went in and shut the door in his face. Is it Michael Shannon? Let me see. Let me check it out. Yes, I couldn't believe. So it's Michael Shannon. I couldn't believe he was not scary at this point. It just like how what happened to him? I don't know. It may be the point of I don't think there was much of a music like dun 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 type of thing. It just seems so watered down. What did you think of that scene, Susan? Before we go on, because I'm like, where's the scariness? I was ready to be scared at that moment. Usually he shows up in the movie and you're like, oh, this is gonna be great. Yeah, he always plays a creepy psycho killer. Exactly. And if he tries to play, usually in a movie where he's trying to play a good guy, he doesn't seem like a good guy because he's so creepy. This one, he seemed creepy, but it wasn't the fact. It wasn't like a scary factor type thing. Especially you're waiting in the back for somebody behind their house. Come on. This scene right here should have been scary. His lines were weak, yeah. I think that's what, like I said, this was okay. I'm just gonna go on. So, okay, so she went back in her house, trying to think, knowing that somebody knew who done it, basically. So I believe she started talking to the one that the grandson that was supposed to help her with all the stuff, and he was like, "Well, we got to figure out who this is. Um, where's your bag?" Or she's like, "It was up there on the scene." And then the next thing was pretty much them going to where the lab work was to show, like it would have shown in his blood that he had way more morphine. So we're thinking, like she would have got arrested because it will show that she be my friend will protect you, very generic stuff, yeah. So they have to get to the lab to figure out how they could hide that from getting through because, like I said, the lab work will show that he he got given, he was given the morphine too high, and that's what killed him. So it wouldn't have been labeled unaliving yourself. It wouldn't have been labeled that. It would have been labeled a murder. And so they go to the lab. They park where nobody's supposed to be able to see them, and the lab's on fire, up in flames. The fire department's there putting it out. So they're like, "Whoa, what happened?" And then they see the police. The police are like, "What the heck happened?" And while they're sitting there talking, the grandson's like, "Wait, so you didn't get a ransom? Like you didn't get asked to pay anything?" And she said, "No, it was just a note." And he was like, "Not even in your email?" And she was like, "Wait a minute, let me check my email." And there it was in her email. It said, just to meet at a certain place and the time. That's it. No ransom, no anything else, just to meet at this certain place. While they're looking at the email, they look up and the cops are looking at them and telling them to stop where they are. And so basically it became a chase where the cops were chasing them, and then it was just like zigzag, zigzag, we hid. And they're sitting there talking. And while they're talking, I don't think they really talked about anything big. I'm trying to think. I don't think so. While they're talking, basically the police find them and they arrest the they arrest the grandson on suspicion of murder instead of her. So she was shocked. She was like, "What's going on?" I'm not like basically like I'm not found out. And they're like, "No, it was him." I'm trying to figure out what was it that they made it him for them. Do you remember that part, Susan? Like what made them alerted to him? Was it the grandma lady, old lady? What the heck? We're just waiting for Susan to type if she's still awake. I think a combination of the grandma and the dogs only barked. Oh yeah, because they said there was barking at the beginning, and the police saw that the dog that there was barking that night that somebody heard, and the police only heard the dogs bark when the dogs barked when the grandson came up. Everybody else they were silent with, and then the grandma said that she saw him at the window that night. So hey, be nice. um. So basically, they arrested him on suspicion. So she was like, "Oh, okay." Like basically, like he. I think she thought he was going to tell it all anyway. So I'm trying to remember the next part after that. Oh yeah, he. So the detective rode with her while the police took him to the station for questioning. So while she's driving the detective, the time's ticking. She's looking at the clock. He's talking about certain things or whatever. And so wait, what question did he ask her? He asked her something. He asked her some question before they got in the car, and she said yes, like she lied, and right after she had to like throw open a cup in her car to hide that she was lying. I'm trying to remember what that question was. Oh, that the grandson had her basically taking off on the police chase, like making her do it. And she was like, yeah, he did. And then threw up in the cup before the detective got in the car. Um, so they're driving and they're showing the clock ticking, for when she has to meet the person that's blackmailing them. And she goes to the detective, oh, can we just make a short stop somewhere? I have to grab something. And this detective was like, sure, no problem. Is it urgent? She was just like, I have to grab something like that, whatever happened. So she parks next door to where she's supposed to be going and goes behind the door, goes through a salon and goes out their back door like that would happen. And then goes in the back door where she's supposed to be, which is a abandoned laundromat. So when she first starts going in, she sees like a person sitting in a chair, but it's still dark and we don't see who the person is. And she finds her bag, her medical bag. When she walks a little further, she grabs it and she's just basically like, okay, basically, bitch, the jig is up. Who are you? Why are you, why are you doing this and stuff like that? And Lord Ricky mistake. And so when she gets closer, she notices it is the housekeeper, right? If I'm wrong, correct me, please, Susan. But it's a housekeeper, and the house. So she goes up to the housekeeper, and she sees that there's a needle with morphine on the floor, and so she's trying to wake, like, goes to the housekeeper. And there's like a spider on her eyeball. Oh my god, that's how much she was like out of it. Where she was basically dying. So there's a spider on her face that crawls off, and the caretaker's like what are you doing, to the housekeeper, like what's happening? And the housekeeper doesn't say anything because she's basically ODing there. And she puts her on the floor and basically starts doing CPR on her and says she's gonna get her help. So she calls 911 to save the housekeeper instead of just letting her die and keeping the secret. But when the housekeeper is laying there, she's saying to her, the secret where there's a secret drawer, she says secret drawer. And then she says, you did it, you did it. She thinks that the caretaker is thinking the housekeeper is telling her directly, like, you did this, you did this. And so basically 911 comes in. The detective sees the fire truck, I mean the ambulance rolling up. He's like, oh, what the heck's going on? And so after that, obviously, she got to spill the beans. So she tells the detective everything that happened. And, she's like, I know I'm going to jail, stuff like that. And, what the heck happened? So she said, well, can I at least tell the family what happened? I want them to know. And he was like, sure, I'll take you to the family for you to tell them everything that happened. So he drives her to the family's house. He tells the family all to get in the room. She starts talking, but then the then she remembered that she knew what the lady was talking about by the secret drawer. So she went to the drawer and she found the lab papers that were in that drawer. But she didn't read. She just gave it to the detective, and she's like, basically, this is what says the morphine killed him. So she started talking to the family. Then the detective read the lab work, and he, grabbed her to the side and took her somewhere, and told the police officers to hold one person, make sure one person doesn't leave, and let the other families. I think they could go out of the house, but don't let this one person leave. So he goes in there, and there's this long thing. I mean, really, that part was a little too long. They could have just said it, but so the twist was. Does Susan want to say the twist? Come on, Susan, you gotta say the twist. Susan's like, don't do this to me. The twist is y'all gotta watch it. No, that's not the twist. You know what, Susan? This is not what we talked about. I know we should leave like you just gotta watch it. Oh, Susan definitely likes saying twisted things. Okay, okay, I'll stop. Who did it? Y'all can't leave me on the edge. That's why I was like, is she gonna do the twist? I thought she would want to do it. But they did really string out, like, make it so unnecessarily long for this part too. The caretaker was ready to give up the money and go to jail, but so was it the grandson? Let's see what Susan says. The private detective came in. Dude, I said, oh, girl, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. You're repeating everything I just said. You know when somebody's not listening to you? Yes, they repeat something everybody else heard. Did he set up the cure? Desi's already catching on because I done said all that stuff. And Susan's like, I want to go to sleep. Oh. If she says something else, I said I'm just gonna finish this thing off. This has been a drama that I didn't need in my life. Well, then you might as well come. I'm talking too fast. I already said it before I asked you. It wasn't like I was saying it while I asked you. You're talking faster than I can type. That is not it. I already said all that stuff before I asked you to type, homie. Anyway, the twist is the. Wait, how did they even find out that part? Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. How did they find out? Yeah, how did they find out to say it was there had something that happened for them to find out it? I think it was the detective, like what the house, what the grandma said that didn't hardly speak any of the time. I think he said that she saw him at the house, coming back to the house that night, and going up the trestle to the window, and so basically, he's telling her something, and then the grandson walks in, like, and then she's like, "Yes, I know." He knows about it. I told him, and the detective's like, "No, he's basically the one that did it." And I know, but I'm wondering what made him know that it was him for him to even tell them to hold him. So, oh yeah, the detective sees the lab work, goes and, like I said, separates everybody, and then he puts down the bottles of morphine and the other medicine. And when she went to pick up the morphine bottle, he was just like, "How did you even know that was morphine?" And she's like, "I don't know. I do. This is my job. I do it all the time." And he says, "Yes, like this is your job. You do it all the time. You'll be able to pick up liquid and know what medicine it was." So he's basically, but how did he find this other stuff out? That's what I'm saying. The other grandson was, oh, the other grandson. That still don't understand how he found out that the labels were changed. The other grandson was in the bathroom hearing arguing. Yeah, so there was a younger grandson that was in the bathroom and heard the arguing, and the writer telling the other grandson that he's cut off. I already said that part, but I didn't say that the other one was in the bathroom. Anyway, The detective figured out where he said that the grandson creeped up to the room knowing that the caregiver was going to administer the medicine to his grandfather that night. So he creeped up in the room and he changed the labeling on the bottle so that she would give him more of the morphine because it was labeled morphine now than his other medicine that would have led to overdosing. So when so what really happened was when she picked up the bottle, it really was the medicine and it really was morphine. So he didn't overdose then because she didn't pick up the wrong bottle. She picked up what she thought was morphine, and it was morphine, just labeled wrong. Of course, she didn't look at the labeling before she administered it. So she really gave him the right medicine, and he didn't have to die basically because he wasn't overdosing. And so he basically offed himself for no reason because like I said, he wasn't going to overdose. So they played it where, the grandson is like, well, you don't have any proof of that. Um, it's still going to be her arrested for the murder because there's no proof that he did the switching around or anything like that. And they got him to basically say it somehow just through talking, whatever. There wasn't too much. He just basically said it or whatever. And then, how did they get? I don't know. There was just this long discussion. That really was. I don't. I just think that was unnecessary and too long. That part, because it's like, okay, now they said who did it. Well, she did it, but he's the one that set it up. And so he's talking about all the stuff. He has a big ego and whatever. And he's like, well, she's still gonna go down for it. I'm not. And then it's like the cops show their phone, and it's like, dude, we've been recording this whole time. You basically admitted to everything. So there's the proof. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that sucks, basically. And then he grabs a knife from the little artwork they had of the knives that I was talking about earlier. He grabs a knife and goes towards the caretaker. And while his arms in the air attempting to stab her, it's like they're all running towards this guy, but yet nobody was able to get the knife from him. And he like plunges it into her chest. They fall to the floor. But then after a minute, you see a knife coming up and realize that it was a prop knife. So she really didn't get stabbed. So the guy's like, oh shit, like he could have, like, oh damn, a prop knife, I couldn't even stab her. And then they arrest him. Then they arrest him and take him away. And, um, Grandpa said his grandson is too dumb to know a real knight from a prop. Yeah. So, yeah, the grandson was the one who basically, got charged with doing, even though the grandpa he said, okay, I'm not going to get you in trouble or whatever, it's still the grandson goes down for it. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there was anything, uh, oh, so then while it's just like, I would think there would be more to the ending, but the ending was really just her holding a cup of tea or coffee, walking out on the balcony, and then the whole family's outside. The grandson hired the mystery detective that was there because he was already planning this. So he was hiring the mystery detective thinking that it would help him, that he would just confirm that she did it and not him. So, that's why he paid the detective to come in and figure it out. So, at the end, they're just all outside while the son's being taken to the police car, and they show which is Jamie Lee Curtis. They show her find like a letter from her grandpa, like the ones that were telling her husband that, hey, you're cheating on my daughter. So she found that enough. So when that was the mother of the grandson that killed, and the actions led up to that, his murder. So at that point, she was done with the husband and her son. She wasn't really caring about that part. She just started smoking a cigarette. And the dad's like, "Come on, we gotta help him. Don't we gotta help him?" And she's looking like, You guys can both go to hell." And then, like I said, then everybody's just looking up at the caregiver, and that was it. Really, they should have made where they showed some plans of what she did with the money and stuff. I think that would have been a better ending. No way, the housekeeper's son, changing. I said the housekeeper's. Oh, the housekeeper saw the grandson changing the bottles. Okay, so that's why he tried to. He was the one that administered the morphine to the. That's how they got him to tell the truth. See, you had a little bit there. He was the one that. Um. So they basically, the lady at the hospital that overdosed, the housekeeper, they told the grandson that she gave him up. That she told him. And so he asked the caregiver, is the housekeeper still alive? Because the nurse called them when, that did the overdose staff called her. So he was like, is the housekeeper still alive? And she turned around and said, yes, yes, we're going to go see her now. And then he was like, see, you don't have evidence. You don't have evidence or what? Oh, no, he thought that they had evidence on him because she was still alive, so he started just talking cocky, like, haha, you guys aren't shit and all that. So that's when they were like, dude, we're recording all that you said. And she threw up after that, so then he was like, damn, it's a lie, she's dead. So she died, they tricked him into thinking she was still alive, and she gave him up. Oh, no way, the housekeeper seen grandson changing the boss. Yeah, we got that. Hey, Larry. Um, she said, this is my house, y'all get the fuck out. No, she didn't. She just stood on the damn balcony and didn't say jack shit. Left off at yeah, because I think they should have showed how she spent some of the money, and if she did put some towards some of the kids, the grandkids' college and stuff like that, they should have finished it off a little better. She should have showed how she loved after I agree. Oh, cool, she lived, yeah. Uh, uh, what's it called? So, what would you rate the movie? I would rate it still around a 3. Um, I really wish it had a little bit more, but I still think it's worth watching. Um, but my rating is a 3. What would yours be, Susan? I think that's what the movies have been getting so far, around a 3. Besides that one, and Susan's is a 3.5. Okay. So yeah, I like I said, at the end of the day, I still think it was worth watching. Um, that's pretty much it. If you guys do end up watching it after all this, let me know. Let me know what you think about it. Next on the agenda is Susan's and I watching the Walmart trip. Oh, you found the watermelon Chloe, yeah. It's gonna be tough to give any movie. Oh yeah, I doubt hardly any movies get a 5. A lot of stuff has changed these days. You got everything so soft. They can't, you know what I mean? Like, so much is different. They can't show a lot of things. They can't say a lot of things anymore because everybody's too sensitive. Um, so it's pretty hard. So today, What's the Walmart trip we were talking about? We still got to figure out the. I think we figured out how to do it now, where everybody could join if you want to. Well, not everybody, just the people we talked about, because there's only a certain amount that could join it. I haven't tried it yet, Larry. The envelope is so damn small, and I can't read the directions. I was so frustrated that I couldn't join the Walmart trip. I kept hitting join video call, and it would act like was going to work, but the screen was blank. Yeah, when we didn't know that, well, basically, this is how it has to work. We have to work out a time that we're all going to be on chat, and once we're all in chat, like once we're talking in chat, then we all could go over to video. But the only difficult thing is like everybody has to pick up on that video. I'm sure if they don't pick up the first time and they're still around, I'm sure Susan probably could send out another one maybe, but if not, it's like the first one everybody got to pick up on so that we all get in there. Um, so what was I gonna say? Oh, and if you don't want your picture, if you don't want to be on video, all you have to do is there's a little uh video camera on the left hand side. All you have to do is press that, and it takes you out of video. You're still looking at Susan, but your little thing goes to your profile picture, and that's all that's there. It's not video format on your end, but you can still see what Susan's doing. So you don't have to show yourself. I didn't get notifications either. Susan, this is your first time trying Kool-Aid. If it is, it's okay. You'll figure it out. It's not that hard. Yeah, I did get a notification. I only knew they were on video because when I accepted being added to the group, it showed me they were on. Okay. Larry, I make regular Kool-Aid in over 20 years. It's what we all can be on video chat. Not on here. We're talking about just like shopping trips, but it has to be through Susan's Instagram, so and only up to what, 6 people could join. But I'll walk you through it if you need me to. That could be it too if the group thing is off. What group thing? Oh, that could be too if the group thing is off. I want to do a video chat. Just tell me when. Do you have Instagram, Larry? Yeah, I think it's 6. No, I just think it didn't work because um you just didn't answer the time that it because you didn't did you get a notification, Desi, when it was actually ringing, or you got it after that it said you missed the call? If someone doesn't have the group setting on an IG. Hmm. Oh well, man, I don't have get Instagram. Oh god, so it's all good though. Okay. No, I didn't, but it lets you join and leave, then come back anytime. Oh, as long as the call is still live. Okay, so that might be it. We're figuring out the kinks. But on the live, it was cool though. There was a lot of people out though. But I got to see some of the stuff that I got to look for on Walmart to see if I could test taste. And Susan grabbed a few things. And you're going to wait for at least one or two when I do the video, right? So you can test taste them while I'm doing the video. That's kind of cool. I need to check my settings. I'll test it out tomorrow. Tomorrow, Susan might be going to Costco. I really enjoy them because, like I said, I don't get to go out anywhere, and the only thing I have is online. And it's like online, I don't specifically look for things because I don't know what to look for. So if I have people going out in stores, like I watch on YouTube and stuff like that, I could see, oh, like that's a new product. I would want to know if I could find it online. So it helps me out a lot. Okay, you wait on the candy. Yeah, that'll be good. So if you hear me knocking, y'all better let me in. We were disappointed that you guys weren't there. We thought everybody was gonna join in. I gotta look tonight too if I can find some of those. Oop, what oop? I tried for like 30 minutes. I even powered off. Oh wow, refreshed. Wow. So you said you gotta look. Oh, you think it's because you're not added on her thing too, though. Oh yeah, they didn't even have the flea shampoo that she went for. I'm trying to think. What did you have for dinner? If you're still there, Larry. What did you guys have for dinner? I had a lovely Marie Callender's chicken parm frozen dinner. Tomorrow I gotta order stuff to make a dinner. I'm gonna go to the vet tomorrow and get the once a month treatment for them, yeah. I went to Costco and they had nothing but samples of things that make huge shit. Oh no. I was not about to sample any of them at Costco while trying to shop. Exactly. That's why I said I get one thing I get jealous of, which is not like ooh a real jealousy thing, but I really do when people could eat anything and not have to worry about that. You know, I'm like, dang, why can't my stomach be like that? And those people have no clue how it is with people with a sensitive stomach because they're like, what? Your stomach's kind of bother you. What does that mean? And it's like, if you only knew. If you only knew. I had leftovers, but might make a chicken patty sandwich. You talking about now? You can make one? I had a sandwich and some cheeses. Desi, you still ended up on the toilet. Oh gosh. That's me with food. That's me when I get too emotional. I swear it's just everything. Oh dang, that was almost 2 hours explaining this movie. Seriously, when did I buy the, oh my gosh. Desi, she bought those bail buns, or if that's what they call it, help, well, a long time ago. She just ate the rest of them. I was like, girl, you got a fucking, I don't know what stomach, but I could not do that. I would probably be in the hospital if I did something like that. Yeah, I was up on the toilet saying, but how she ate those from. That was the first outing that you guys missed, right? Well, we didn't know. We didn't know you guys wanted to join the first outing. And she just ate the stuff. And it was just in the refrigerator. She didn't even freeze it. No, I couldn't do that. I food trip, so I'm used to eating the same stuff for a week. Ugh. Still, that was longer than a week. Did you guys see that sad video where I guess it was a popular streamer from I think Nigeria. There was a girl that she just was sitting there and she had some liquid packets of something. And I hope it's not true, but it seemed like I couldn't read a lot of comments because, but she was sitting there, she's biting at this package and she squeezes it all and swallows it. And then she starts on the second one, and I think it's somebody that loves her. I don't know if it was her mom or whatever. Just starts screaming, no, no, like trying to get the girl up. And so basically, everybody said she unalived herself right there because she was drinking bleach. I'm like, I hope I didn't see that because it was a whole scene, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know why they were showing me it. And then I see her do that. I'm like, is it a joke or whatever? The things that you could see these days. That was so horrible that like broke my heart. Costco got fried pickles. Oh, dang. I still want to find some good fried pickles. I feel like if the Buffalo Wild Wings were just a little bit more fried, they would have been really, they would have been good. They just need a little bit more fried, like a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more fried. And no, even the pickle wasn't good. It needed to be like a crunchier pickle, a tastier pickle. Yes, I haven't tried them yet, but they look good. But of all the reviews I did, well, even before just eating food from having to get it from what's it called, Uber Eats or whatever, that still was like all around the best food that I got. Because I'm telling you, Uber Eats just be throwing stuff all around, and they just don't care to get it like that. I'm like, that needs to be how it is every time when you order from anywhere. That's what I'm afraid of. That they used a nasty pickle. Yeah, Red Robin has good fried pickles. Really? Yeah, that's what I'm in the search of next for a good fried pickle. The mozzarella stick thing is like a L for me. It's like it's okay. It's not something that I think I would order. It's not gross. I would eat mozzarella sticks again. But I think mine tasting it or whatever, it's something I could live without. It's not like a big whoop to me. So you said, so Susan, for sure we're trying Costco tomorrow, or you're gonna try to go to Costco tomorrow, just in case anybody listens back to this video to be waiting and ready. Buffalo Wild Wings sells the sauce in a 3-pack. I think it's regular buffalo sauce, Asian Zing, and something else. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like the Asian Zing and the buffalo one. It was just the salt and vinegar ones that they failed on. That was my first time, Desi. That's why I was like, it was, and it makes me mad that it's so far away, and because I would definitely order from them again, but it's too much money to do that. But I already missed them and with them again, especially, like I said, their chicken things, everything was good. And then the brownie, too, oh, that's what topped it off. Larry left already? He didn't tell us what he had for dinner? Right, right. I'm gonna spray the yard and go to the vet downtown in the morning. I'll message on IG to see what's a good time for everybody. Okay. It is. I've been looking at menus online for places and I'm like, no man. Yeah. I got food at the house, yeah. I'm trying to think. I know that what did I have to do tomorrow? Something. I don't remember. Jessie must have fell asleep. She was really trying to make it tonight. Um, but we'll catch her. Maybe when I do the live during the day sometime. When I do the video part. So yeah, those who play back, just wait, listen out for the Susan on Instagram and see when we're doing the Costco tomorrow. I gotta get milk for my cereal. Yeah. Well, we're going to 2 hour mark on here. I'm not gonna really drag it out because it's almost there, and we talked about the movie and stuff. So I'm gonna get off. I appreciate you guys for coming on. I appreciate anybody for coming through and hitting the like button. If you guys watch the replay, please hit the like button. Comment on what you think about the movie. If you're gonna watch it, let me know. Also, if you guys want us to watch a movie, if you guys want us to, oh, don't, yeah, if you guys want us to, if you want to recommend us, and then the next live will go on. We'll if you want to recommend a movie, the next live I do, which it might be tomorrow, whatever. We'll find another movie to watch, and I gotta order this book. So thank you guys for coming to this live. Um, Good night, Desi. Good night, Susan. Good night, Diane. If you're still listening. Good night, Larry. If somehow you're still there, I still have to find one that's free. Yeah. Good night, everybody. See you next time.